Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to PSGL. This is season 39, F2 for round 5 at the Austria Grand Prix. Sorry about the difficulties. I had problems, and unfortunately, I am the only one here tonight. So I think that Logan is commentating for F1 whilst I'm here in F2. I was supposed to have somebody alongside me tonight, but they haven't responded. So it's just me, and we'll see how it goes. So round 4 last week on Monday was the Chinese Grand Prix. What a fantastic race that was as well. I actually passed the whole race as well. And in the end, it was Christian who took his second win of the season ahead of Finlay. Hizara finished in P3 with a late resurgence after the race with fantastic pace on these newer medium compound tyres in P3. You're nearly P4 in the Williams ahead of Tom in the Mercedes. Lawrence who dropped backwards to finish in 6th as we see Hizara now cross the line to go into first, but replaced by George Ansell in the Racing Bull to go up to first with a 3.179 as Fraser is second place with a 103.347 there as there are your early initial lap times on the board as Nico Rassenberg in the Red Bull, the young German, goes up into P3 with even I in P4 with a 3.462 there. So pretty close times here and pretty competitive times as well, especially in the early stages of qualifying here. As ETA Lawrence then goes up into P2 in the kick Sauber. And Lawrence will be looking to bounce back after a difficult race at the Chinese Grand Prix, just dropping backwards as well after his contact with Hizara in the late stages as well when the two Saubers went side by side. Lucas goes up to P4 just ahead of his Red Bull teammate Nico. Nico has raced around here in Austria as well previously, so I'm pretty sure he's got loads of experience under his belt, and we'll see how he does that as we see more drivers across the line. Tom goes up into P7 in the Mercedes, Brian Emers into P8 in the Haas with a 3.537, and both of them have set the exact same lap time as well, so incredible stuff indeed as we see Tales then make his way towards turn 8 we go. There's Mercedes just slowing down there on the exit. That's turn 7, this is turn 8 now as we ride on board with the Alpine driver as we make our way now towards the final 2 corners to go. Make up 8 corners. This can catch a lot of people out indeed, especially with the validation as we head towards the final corner where Danny Kvyat clashed in 2017 as we see Tales cross the line. He goes up into P2 with a 3.303 then. So good lap time there from Tales, just ahead of Lawrence by a few hundredths of a second there as Gavroche goes up into P6 in the Williams then. So 2 people of Jude and Zane who haven't set a lap time just yet. Zane is headed back in the pit lane then, so I wonder if he made a mistake on his flying lap somewhere and therefore had to back off as he's running low on fuel there. So it looks like he's filled the car for 1 lap only, and that 1 lap had a big mistake and therefore had to back out. Slash is currently in P13 in the Haas. And Slash has had some difficult results recently as well. It hasn't been an easy season for him. I wonder what's going on with the Haas because he was very competitive last season as well. So just wondering what the problem is, whether he's adjusting to certain things, whether he's getting used to the car, the setup, the balance, whatever it is. But both Haas's have been struggling, although we saw Brian Emers, who was running in the lead of the Grand Prix at the Belgian Grand Prix, but unfortunately slipped backwards after the second stint, and he was outside the top 10 almost as well. So hopefully he gets a decent run here in Austria, as majority of drivers then are back in the pit lane after the first round of runs are completed. A short track, of course, with only 10 corners. So this track was brought back into the sport in F1 in 2014 at the Austria Grand Prix, but it took 11-year hiatus. I think 2003 Grand Prix was the last time we raced around Austria until it came back in 2014, of course, and that's when we saw it was the double Williams lockout as Felipe Massa took ball back in 2014 and Valtteri Bottas started in second as well. Nico Rosberg in third, and Hamilton started in third place as well because I think he spun on his qualifying laps heading up towards turn 3. It's a difficult qualifying for Mercedes, but I'm pretty sure they finished 1-2 with Rosberg in first and Hamilton in second. I think one of the Williams drivers is still on the podium that day. I think it was Bottas who finished in P3, or it could have been Massa, but I'm not quite sure. But on board with CPI Fraser as he makes his way down towards turn 1, clipping the apex, runs out wide of the exit, very close to validation there as he runs up the hill towards turn 2. DRS there flat out through this kink as we head down towards the braking zone at turn 3, braking on the 100 meter pause, slow it down to the gears, aggressive turning as he runs over the curve at turn 3. Back on the power again, it's a heavy braking zone, so it's very difficult to get back on the power without losing traction. As we head down towards turn 4, another heavy braking zone as he flicks the car and aggressively touching the curb on the inside as he leans on the outside. This is an easy corner here, no problems through turn number 5 as we head now towards this left-hander. Just want to keep the minimum speed up, keep the car trying to maximise all part of the track as well, as Fraser is 700 down in that middle sector then. It looks like a decent lap so far, but unfortunately he is not up on his personal best as we head down towards the final 2 corner. As Fraser then heads back in the pit lane. And he has a validated lap, unfortunately, as we see Lawrence then on his final lap. He's 9 thousandths down in the first sector as we head down towards turn 4, just clipping the apex on the entry there as we get back on the throttle once again. ETA Lawrence, who won, of course, at the Bahrain Grand Prix in the first race of the season. Let's see how he does then on his second run. He's currently 300s up in that middle sector as we ride on board with the man in ETA. George Ansel still holds provisional pole in first place as his teammate Jude goes up into P2, so that's a very good lap time there from the RB driver, who puts himself into P2 as Lawrence flying through the final corner. As he crosses the line now, he goes up into P3 with a 3.2, and that's a very decent lap time in there as well from the Sauber driver as we go on board with the Alpine of Talents then, who comes towards the end of the first set. The Brazilian is up by a few hundredths of a second as well, going for his second lap on a new set of the soft compound tyres, and we'll see then as he makes his way down towards turn 4. 10 minutes left to go in the session then. 8 minutes have gone by, and we're coming towards our second lap times right now on board with the Alpine then as he runs wide on the exit of the curb there, very close to the gravel trap. Of course, back in 2020 we saw Alex Albon and Lewis Hamilton make contact, and I'm pretty sure as well that same happened with Perez and George Russell, as Talents then just missed the apex slightly on entry towards turn 7 as he scoops back up, as we're now coming down towards turn 9 and turn 10. Just a little downshift there, still pinned on the throttle, coming towards the final corner into 5th, and let's see what his reward is as he makes his way down towards the finish line. It's a 3.1. Unbelievable stuff indeed. 3 drivers with a 3.1, separated by only 6 thousandths of a second there. Incredible stuff indeed, as we see Lucas unfortunately invalidates his lap time as he makes his way back into the pit lane as well. Anybody else out there? We've got plenty of drivers that are circulating on the track. Halfway through qualifying we go. Finley is down, of course, in the first set. I think he just completed the lap there in the Aston Martin, then stays in P7. Anybody else out there on a flying lap? Slash is up to P15 with a 3.553, as Brian Eamons and Tom stood in the pit lane there as they set the exact same lap time as well. Christian, our last week's race winner in the McLaren. Let's see then how he does. I think he's not on a flying lap as the McLaren driver. Mixed results so far for Christian. He finished 11th in the first race, 1st in the second race, 11th in the previous race, and 1st at the Chinese Grand Prix then. So mixed results there from Christian. Let's see what he can do in Austria. He has some strong pace, but unfortunately in some races he seems to drop away a bit as well. So I think he needs to work a little bit on his consistency there, does TRT Christian in the McLaren. Fantastic race in Brazil, of course. As he dives off into the pit lane there, majority of drivers are still in the pits, just waiting for the final few laps in qualifying. It is a short track, of course, so you can do multiple runs around here, around Austria. As Lucas says, yo, how are you doing, mate? Nice to see you in the chat. Hopefully you're doing alright. As we see then Jude on his outlap. Both RB drivers then separated by 2 thousandths of a second, so just 5 margins between the two. And I wonder which RB driver will get ahead, because Jude has been looking very quick as well this season. Very competitive in the last few races. Yes, he had a few mistakes as well, but still got the pace to go with it. We've seen some very close action between both Sauber drivers, both RBs as well. The Alpine of Thales and both Aston Martins as well have been creeping in there as well. So both of them have been doing a really good job so far. Have the Aston Martin camp. I know one of them got front wing damage last week, but I can't remember who it was because it's similar names between those two, Fraser and Finley. But we're right on board then with the RB driver as he makes his way around the final corner. He goes. Let's see what Duke could do as he crosses the line right now, heading uphill towards turn 1 we go. Let's see what he does coming towards turn 1, taking a curve very nicely there. Back in the car, just wobbling a bit on the exit, at the exit of turn 1. Now we're coming up towards 2 and 3. Turn 2, of course, flat out. We see the chicane there, inputs for the MotoGP Grand Prix, because obviously that accident in 2020 when 2 riders crashed and almost took out Valentino Rossi as well. So that's why the chicane is there. Now we're headed down towards turn 4, a downhill braking zone. as we ride on board with the RB driver just down his third gear, taking the curve very nicely as well, leans on the exit as he uses the overtake as well available to him as we make our way towards this left-hander. We go into fifth gear, try not to get too close to that curve, obviously trying to get as close to it as you possibly can. Same with this one as well, turn 7 and turn 8. Don't want to touch the curves at all because they can be lethal, and throw your car off balance and put yourself in the gravel. Now the RB of you comes towards the final two corners we go. And let's see, can he keep it nice and clean, keep it on the track with the DRS wide open? Can he take pole away? And the question is, yes, he can. It's a 2.991. What an amazing lap time there for Jude, the only driver, of course, in the twos. What was the pole lap for Valtteri Bottas in 2020? Was it a 2.67? I can't exactly remember what the pole time was, but the Sauber driver on Lawrence goes up into P2, does the Dutchman, so great lap time there. He splits both RB drivers as we watch George Ansel currently down in the first sector, but can he make it back up in the middle and final part of the track then? We're about to find out now as he heads towards the intermediate split. In the second sector, he has found a bit of time, but in all, I think he has validated, he has. George Ansel unfortunately validates there, taking too much curb on the entry towards turn 8. And unfortunately has to bail out of it. So into the pit lane he comes. Let's see what Tallis could do. Unfortunately, Tallis has a validator as well. So quite a few validations there as Nico Rassenberg heads back in the pit lane as well. So quite a few drivers then on their runs in the validator. We can see Lucas now up in the middle sector by a few hundreds of a seconds. Teammates with Nico, of course. Both Red Bull drivers have been struggling so far this season. They are down in last in the Constructors' Championship. Evan is usually the full-time driver, but Lucas is filling in. Lucas now flicks his way towards the final corner. Let's see, can he get himself further along the pecking order? He doesn't. He stays in P7 behind Fraser, down by 4 thousandths of a second on Fraser and Lucas as well. Few more drivers then yet across the lines. Christian then in the McLaren finds a lap time of a 3.22, so decent lap time there to put himself into P5. And let's see then what else happens on the circuit. So it's Finley out there on the flying lap. I believe he is going towards turn 4 then. Let's see what he could do. Both Aston Martins, like I said, have been looking really strong so far. Lucas with a win at the Belgian Grand Prix and a podium in round 4 in China, so it's been looking very good for Finley so far. He's 2/10 up in the middle sector as Janil has joined the session there. So this will be very interesting. 19 drivers now participate in qualifying as Finley then makes his way towards the final two corners in 6th gear, throwing the car in. Absolute commitment through there as he makes his way towards the line. P3 is his reward, and that's an amazing lap time indeed from the Aston Martin driver on good form this season. I suspect that both Aston Martin drivers will have a good chance as well. Here comes Slash towards the final corner, but unfortunately he is down as he crosses the line. He does move up a place, up into P14 he goes, so a bit of time found in that last sector there from Slash to put himself ahead of NLR Tom. And Brian Ema's in the house as well. He's currently on his outlap, the man that was leading the Belgian Grand Prix, but unfortunately fell backwards during that race as well. Currently P15 in the championship is Brian Emas, the Dutchman representing ILT, of course. Scored points twice this season, back in Brazil and back in China as well. It was a shame what happened to him in Belgium because he had strong pace in the first stint, but in the second stint just dropped away dramatically. So I'm not quite sure what happened there to him. Whether others found more pace or not. But here comes Brian Emas then as he makes his way towards the line. As he starts then. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go on the clock. We do see some people out there on the track so far in qualifying. Some people like to go out early just in case they validate the first lap. They've always got the time to do the second lap. Other people are very confident of setting those lap times very quickly indeed. Oh, a bit of a moment going out of turn 3 there for Brian Emas as he has massive wheel speed. You can hear it as well on his throttle inputs that Brian Emas struggling a bit with traction, but he's slowed down, so he's not satisfied with that lap time, of course. So unfortunately there for Brian Emas, but like I said, he does have that second extra lap to go at it again. So our main contenders are heading out for the pit lane for the final few laps here in qualifying. There is 2 minutes left to go, and your pole sitter is currently Jude in the RB, who is out on the circuit, ready for his flying lap then. So it's going to be a very interesting qualifying. Who can beat Jude with a 2.9? The only driver so far in this qualifier session with a 2.9. 5 margins as well, separating P2 to P5 by 8 hundredths of a second there. So that's very close indeed between all these drivers around this track, which is 4.3 kilometers long. But I think we're going to go on board now with Tallis as basically way down towards turn 3 then. So let's see. We didn't quite see his first intermediate split there, so we'll have to find out what he does in the middle and last sector. But Tallis, let's see what he can do. Slash has retired, unfortunately, in the pit lane, and he will start P14 or backwards there. But Tallis on the curb on the outside, maximising every single part of the racetrack as we head down towards turn 7, carrying a lot of speed on there as well, using all the track, and he's still down in the middle sector. Is Tallis then as he utilises all the curb in turn 8. Can he find a time in the final 2 corners? Let's have a look right now as he takes a wide line going towards turn 9, carrying the speed through in towards the final corner. Back at the power once again. Can Tallis promote himself up the order? He can't, but he does improve only by 5,000ths of a second. 2 thousandths away from George Ansel. George Ansel has backed out of it. He has got the time to go through it again. Lawrence makes his way towards the end of the first set. Is he up or down? He is up by 1400ths of a second. Jude has backed out of it. I don't think Jude can improve. He can't. Jude unfortunately makes a mistake on his last lap, and that'll be it for the RB driver, praying that people behind him do not improve. We've got plenty of people out there on the fly lap, including the McLaren driver, Christian. Here comes McLaren around the final 2 corners. Where can Christian promote himself as we round on board with the McLaren then towards the final corner? He goes. Garachi goes up to P6 in the Williams. Here comes Christian towards the line. What can he do? It's a 3.2 and he is down by 1200ths of a second on his own best time then, so stays in P7. But Fraser in the Aston Martin goes up into P2. Great lap time there from the Aston Martin as well. Both of them looking very strong and handy, but unfortunately Finley has invalidated on his last lap, of course. So that's it for Finley in P4. Nico Rassenberg goes up into P5 in the Red Bull. And behind him is George Ansel, who's in the gravel there. Unfortunately for him, so he's out. Anybody else out there? Let's see, Hazara as well. He doesn't have good qualifying, does he? Does Hazara? He does struggle during the qualifying simulations, but in the race pace, that's where he comes back stronger. I think he qualified outside the top 10 at the Chinese Grand Prix. Didn't have a good qualifying, did he, during then? Qualified 7th in China, but I know he's been outside the top 10 multiple times this season, has Hazara, so I think qualifying has been his biggest kryptonite this season. But at least he's got the race pace to come back through the field. We know both Saubers are looking really strong so far. Both Hazara and Lawrence have a bit of a conflict in the chart last week. I think they both were unhappy with each other, but I think they're sorted out now and back to being teammates again. But your pole man is Jude with an incredible lap time of a 2.991, with Fraser in P2, Lawrence in P3, Finley in 4th place. Nico Rassenberg, with his best ever qualifying this season, is up into P5. Nico's had a really tough season as the German driver, but let's see, is this a change of fortune for the man who's currently down to P19 with no points to his name? There's your classifications then. It is Jude on pole ahead of Fraser in P2. 1,000 separating Fraser and Lawrence in P3 and P4, P2 and P3. Finley and Nico have set the exact same lap time. P4 and P5 for them. George Ansel P6. Look how close it is. It is so bunched up, so compact here on this grid. Unbelievable scenes indeed. P1 to P10 separated by 0.2 of a second as we go through the classifications then. There's your top 19 with Yanil in the Williams, who haven't set a lap time because he joined very late in the session. And that's it then. For those who just joined, or for those who are new, if you see the race start, that's not the actual race start, by the way. We do retire from the session and go again, because in qualifying we have the ghosted cars. I am alone tonight, unfortunately, so I wasn't really prepared for this. I was quite nervous heading into this one because I am the co-commentator. I'm fairly new to PSGL as well, so it'll take a bit of time to get used to it, but I think I'm doing an alright job so far, hopefully. Hope you guys will join the action as well. Of course, I haven't even spoken about the Chinese Grand Prix either because I haven't had the time to, so... The Chinese sprint was a surprise because Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari took sprint pole. And this is not the actual race, by the way, so don't be shocked if you see any crashes. So everybody will retire from the session as we will restart the lobby. a 36-lap race, of course, but back to China and Australia as well. Australia Grand Prix was a mega open start to the season with the mixed conditions as well. Lando Norris taking the victory ahead of Max Verstappen, with Oscar Piastri unfortunately suffering with a mistake in the final set due to the slippy conditions. The rain hit the circuit at the wrong time for the Australian driver, but Oscar Piastri bounced back in China to claim the victory with a fantastic drive, took pole, then went on to lead every single lap of the race and won. He didn't need every lap, of course, because I think Alex Albon took a few laps in the lead of the Grand Prix, but still, it was a stunning drive from Oscar Piastri, with Lando Norris in second and George Russell in P3. Max Verstappen, I think, finished in P4, but both Ferraris were disqualified after the race, and that was a mega shock indeed. Both Ferraris were disqualified for a different reason. I don't exactly know what the reason is. Is it with the plank? I didn't exactly read the details of what the reasoning was behind the disqualifications, but what a shocking start of the season, excluding the sprint race in China for Ferrari. Messed up the strategy in Australia, the double DSQ in China, and the only highlight so far this season was the win in the sprint for Lewis Hamilton. But hopefully for Ferrari's sake, everything changes. But I'll read you the championship standings out here in PSGL while I get the chance to, as the lobby will restart. So, Lawrence is currently leading the championship. He is first with 33 points. Hazara second, his Kicksabber teammate with 32. Joint points with him is Christian in third place with 32 points as well, same with Hazara. P4 is Janil, but he will start at the back of the field. He picked up a podium back at the Belgian Grand Prix, did the Williams drivers, had 2-4 places in Bahrain and in China as well. And Finley is P5, DNF in the first race in Bahrain due to contact with Kristen, I believe it was. I remember that contact. They were both putting the wall together at the second straight with the DRS in Bahrain. So Finley's currently P5 in the championship, won, of course, in Belgium, finished second in China. Tallers in P6 in the Alpine. He was leading the Grand Prix at one point in Bahrain, but unfortunately just dropped backwards and got demoted down to P6. In Brazil, he finished in P3. There was a bit of contact as well in Brazil with him, as he finished in P5 in Belgium and 11th in China. It was a dismal race for Tallers as well in China, currently in P5 in the Alpine. P6 in the Alpine, my eyes are a bit fuzzy, that's why I wear glasses. So he's on 22 points, 6 points behind Finley. Fraser in the Aston Martin is currently 7th in the championship with 22 points, same with Tallers. Even I is P8 Mercedes, 12 points. Jude, surprisingly, well, I say surprisingly, his last 3 attempts was 2 DNSs and a DNF. So the last time he finished a race was at the Bahrain Grand Prix, the first race of the season for VCAR for Jude there. So not been a good start to the season. Did finish in P3, but last 2 were DNFs and DNF as well. Ivan in the Red Bull, Thomas in the Mercedes is P10 ahead of Ivan in 11th place. Alex is P12 ahead of Garachi, but Garachi's had a good qualifying session, so let's hope he can boost himself up the order. Slash I mentioned, 5th, 14 points with 5, with same with Brian Nemus. Zane with 16 points with 4. George Ansel 17th. You have seen George Ansel have some decent pace, but unfortunately just can't seem to hook it up together. And Diogo Silva in 18th ahead of Nico Rastenberg, who hasn't scored any points yet this season. Surprising from the German driver, but he does start inside the top 10, so let's see if things change there. And Kevin will start, is in last place in the championship. 19 drivers will be participating in this race, and we know that Austria, full of DRS trains. There are 3 DRS zones around here at the Austrian Grand Prix. I expect many trains. I expect many changes in the field as well. It's all about where you are as well in the last couple of laps of the Grand Prix, how it all pans out for you, depending what position you're in towards the end of the race. Tactical DRS play we saw last week at the Chinese Grand Prix with a few people. What an amazing race that was. It was Christian with that fantastic overtake down the inside, who still went on to win the Grand Prix despite Hazard attacking him towards the end of the race. And it was Finley who finished in P2 as well. Hazard did a fantastic comeback drive as well to the field, staying out there a few laps later to have the offset tyres and come back to the field with amazing pace. Yes, there was a bit of contact involved between quite a few drivers with Hazard. I'm very excited for this race. Well, can't wait to see what happens in this race. It should be a very interesting one, and the timer is ticking down then, as we should get underway very, very shortly in this race then. 36 laps ahead of us during the Grand Prix. Well, I have the chance as well. I'll probably forget during the race. I just want to shout out to our sponsors, brought to you by GT Omega. Remember the code PSGL to get 5% at your checkout as well. We sell products like gaming chairs, racing rigs, and you can head over to the website. Link is in the description. Head over there. Had to get that in just in case I forget through the race, because obviously it'll be actually packed, so I won't have the time to say it. So that is the best opportunity, and it is raining for this race as well. This is going to spice things up during the Grand Prix, so qualifying was pivotal for this race. Wonder how many people have done the wet practice, adjusted to the wet setup as well. It might be a tentative first lap between the drivers, but can they keep it nice and clean here in Austria? We're about to find out. I think in the sprint race last season, it was a wet start. I remember this qualifying session in 2020 where we saw Antonio Giovinazzi go off the track, and Hamilton blitzing pole as well. Verstappen almost got pole, but unfortunately spun in the final two corners. Can't remember if it was the Styrian Grand Prix or Austrian Grand Prix when it was raining. I think it was the Styrian, because I remember Bottas winning the first race, then Hamilton went to win the second race, because I think Hamilton picked up a 5-second time penalty for contact with Albon, and Norris got his first podium. Bottas finished in first. Norris was on the podium too on that day. In the second race, Hamilton bounced back with a fantastic victory as Bottas struggled in qualifying. We know what Verstappen is like as well in the rain. And also Max Verstappen, I think, has the most wins around here at the Austrian Grand Prix as well, so good track record. Last season at the Austrian Grand Prix between Verstappen and Norris was hectic as well, especially down at turn 2. But the light is about to go underway. No formation lap, of course, so we get set for this race. And we're underway for round 5 here at the Austrian Grand Prix. A tentative start from the drivers here, but Jude maintains the lead. The kicks out, but Lawrence might go down the inside, but has the Aston Martin alongside. But the Aston Martin has a poor exit, the exit at turn 1. There's an RB who almost lost the back end of the car. He falls down into P7. That is George Ansell. Tyler now puts himself into 6th place as we climb towards the hill, towards the top of turn 2, heading to the heavy braking zone. Look at these guys, they're getting so close. Here comes the Red Bull and Nico down the inside, wheel to wheel with the Aston Martin driver. The RB of George Ansell trying to take back 6th place, but he can't quite make it. But here comes Nico now alongside the Aston Martin of Tallis there as we head down towards turn 1. Finley stays ahead, sorry, that was Finley. As we head down towards turn 4, late manoeuvre by the Williams driver who fancies a move up the inside in towards turn 4. Can he make it stick? He does. He puts himself into P7. It's a relatively clean start from all these drivers. Every single driver behaving themselves, and all 19 drivers there remain in this race. Then nobody has spun for the time being, as we all continue on to lap 1 then. It is Jude who leads them away, ahead of Fraser in P2, Lawrence in 3rd place with Finley in 4th, and we'll have a look to see how many positions gained or lost during this race, if I can find it. There we go then, so there's the most positions gained or lost. The most gained is 1 by a few drivers, and the most lost is 2 by George Ansell. We did see him a difficult start towards this Grand Prix, but here we are, head up towards turn 1. I think it's time for the soft, says Tim. Yep. Let's do it for our strategy D. But the RP driver in the background goes off the track then, and we're compromising up towards turn 2. Let's have a look right now. Here comes Finley, and so that's Nico as we head down towards turn 3. Late braking there by Lawrence, and here he is up the inside, squeezes Finley on the curve there. As let's see which gets better traction. Out of turn 3 we go. Finley then alongside, but will Nico Rosberg taking advantage as we head down towards turn 4 we go. Lost a bit of time towards first and second. They're going side by side as we continue to fight down towards turn 4. Lawrence defends for Finley. Finley is left in the clutches of Nico. It's a bit of contact between the two there, but I think Finley just stays ahead for the time being. Even Iron Towels are going side by side in towards turn 6 and turn 7, but Tallis just stays ahead as Hazara and Lucas are scrapping away for P11 and P12. The Ferrari and the Red Bull side by side in towards turn 7 and turn 8 we go. Let's see, that's so close between the two. Bit of contact there as I think Lucas lost the car just slightly there and gave the place towards the Ferrari. As further up the field then it's getting very intense, and Lawrence has found the pace to get back towards the top two despite losing, well, not DRS, because DRS is not the same enabled so far due to the wet conditions, but he's under a second. He's back in the slipstream of first and second there, so the top two haven't pulled away. As look at that, Finley slides through turn 1, and he also has a massive wheel spin the exit of turn 1. So will Nico Rassenberg take advantage of this and put himself into P4 ahead of the Aston Martin? Let's see, is it a late breaking move? It's not. He stays behind for the time being as we head down towards turn 3. Look at the RB getting close down towards turn 3. That is George Ansell versus the Williams. As look at the Williams gets a better exit at the second phase on the acceleration there, so much better exit from the Williams as he stays ahead and puts himself into P6. Usually the outside line is preferred as we see Hazara, Mr. Paolo going side by side in towards turn 4 we go. The Sauber versus the Ferrari driver. Hazara just squeezes ahead as he puts himself into 11th place ahead of the Ferrari then. So disappointing qualifying, and we know it's a bit difficult to overtake in the rain as well, but look at Fraser putting massive pressure on the RB driver that of Yude. Yude is leading the race for the first time since the Bahrain Grand Prix, of course, and that's when he finished in third place. As they look at that sliding through the turn 9 and turn 10 we go. Exiting the final corner. Let's see, can Fraser apply the pressure on the RB driver as we head on to lap 4 as Lawrence now sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix. So despite the early skirmishes in the first few laps, Lawrence and Finley haven't lost any time whatsoever, because I thought the top two was able to pull away with the breakage in the train. But not to be then. George Ansell's quite close to Garachi in P6 there as we now head up towards turn 3 we go. Anybody looking for a move? I think the Aston Martin is, the Williams is, as he bumps and barges past the RB of George Ansell. But look at that, massive wheel spin, but still gets a better exit than the Williams driver. Alongside him he goes as we head downhill towards turn 4 now. They still remain side by side, but which one of these two gets ahead? Look at that, nice late braking skills from George as he goes around the outside in towards turn 4. Coming through turn 5 and turn 6 we go. Still remaining wheel to wheel. As look at this there, which one of these two could just squeeze ahead there. We see the Williams get a bit wide, and George does get ahead, but no, here comes the Williams around the outside. Can he make it? Oh, lost the car, massive wheel spin as he stays ahead for the time being, but they've lost a huge amount of time towards the top 6 there, so that battling has cost them dearly. Can they find the time back? We're about to find out. So the top 5 in close contention. Yude is the leader of this train as he sets now the fast up of the Grand Prix. Was under pressure slightly from Fraser, but still showing some good pace in first there. So good work with the skills there. As the RB goes off in the background, and look at that, Tallis is right behind Gavocci as well. So putting pressure on the Williams, you're trying to put pressure on George Ansell. And we're headed down towards turn 3 we go, but in the background, that's more important. Here comes Williams back down the inside in towards turn 3. 3 abreast behind us between the McLaren, Ferrari and the Sauber as well. And this time George Ansell does stay ahead, but here comes the Williams back down the inside in towards turn 4 and overtakes him before the breaker zone. In the background, that is Mercedes and the LP driver of even I, and Tallis go wheel to wheel as we see Tallis moves himself up into P8 ahead of the Mercedes driver. Christian is defending there from the McLaren driver, so interesting battle going on there. Do you think the conditions are going to ease up? Is it going to rain for the whole race, or are the conditions going to get better? Because I don't think it can be a full wet race. We're about to find out. I think the hardcore power tyres could be introduced later on in the Grand Prix as well and take them towards the end. Obviously, when it's raining, you don't have to use more than one set of tyres. That's what I mean. I mean in terms of the hards and the mediums. You don't have to use more than one tyre compound. So you can easily take the hards towards the end if you want to. But those are hards or durable tyre, of course, around here in Austria. But look at that, the top 5 just pulling away as Gavocci is put under massive pressure by George Ansell right behind us. We head up towards turn 3 we go as Fraser looking for a move down the inside. I think the conditions are easing up slightly. Will Lawrence get a better exit than the Aston Martin driver? About to find out now. Yes, he does. He goes alongside him, almost in the grass there. It's like Sergio Perez and Carlos Sainz back in 2016. But here comes Lawrence down the inside. Late breaking move from the Sauber driver. Can he make it stick? He does. Nice move there from the Sauber. Puts himself into P2. He's been lining up that move for quite a long time now, has Lawrence. But look at this. I think that's the Aston Martin coming back down the inside. Did he give him a bit of a tap there, going down towards turn 6? I wonder. Might have lost himself a bit of time towards Jude. But as we continue then on lap 6, the conditions are easing off then, so we might see the hardcore power tyres being introduced during this race. Let's use the first to blink. Obviously, it's a bit too early right now. We know the conditions could change at any given moment during this Grand Prix. Nico Rassenberg is up to P5, as Gavrochi is there defending once again from George Ansel in P6 and P7. He actually sets the fastest of the Grand Prix, so despite losing pace, and despite being dropped from the guys ahead, he's got the fast lap of the Grand Prix, as we see that Nico's right to the back of Finley then, as we climb towards turn 2 and turn 3. It's the German driver looking for a move down the inside as we climb towards turn 3, approach the break. So we go as Nico taps the back of the Aston Martin, but thankfully keeps the car in control and pointing in the right direction. They're not going for a spin. That could easily end in contact between all those guys there, or even ended even worse. Now head towards the break instead of turn 4 we go. With Nico Rassenberg just trying to find a way past the Aston Martin, but the Aston Martin's defending really well against the Red Bull driver then, as the conditions look like they're getting better and better throughout this Grand Prix. As we see that the Williams then, can he gain any time on the top spot, because he was 2 seconds behind not long ago, but he seems to have found some pace now that George Ansel is not all of his backwards again. I think that's actually got some decent pace. It's been a shame though that he's just lost the touch between the top 5. Heading towards the final corner we go. When are the conditions going to dry up during this Grand Prix? When is the time to pit, of course? As we see then, the fast lap tumbling down. It's a 12.8, so it's a bit too early now. Obviously, it's a bit too early, but yep, it's a 12.5 now from Tallis in P9, who now sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix in turn 1 we go. And George Ansel rides to the back of the Williams once again then. Let's see if he makes a move going down towards turn 3. They're trying to catch the top 5. I think it's very important that these guys don't battle too hard, because we know this track's getting better. Of course, the DRS will be powerful as well. So is it just worthwhile sitting behind the Williams? Let the Williams and Gavrochi catch up in front of the top 5 before the dry period comes, because if they lose the DRS when the dry comes, that's it for them. It's very hard to catch back up when you don't have DRS. Look at that massive slide for George Ansel. He's fighting with the car at the exit of turn 4 with Tiles right behind in the back of him as well. Sorry, Tales. Don't know why I pronounced that wrong there. Oh, look at that then. Nico just touching the curb on the inside towards turn 7 and turn 8, but it seems he's got some decent pace. When can he make a move on Finley? When is the time to do so? As we make our way now towards turn 9 and turn 10. I think for Aston Martin, Fraser in the foreground goes off the track. He's really fighting with the car there, struggling for grip. As we exit the final corner we go then, Nico uses the battery, but I don't think he'll make a move, as he now sets the fastest of the Grand Prix, replaced by Tallis, and now replaced by Tom. So these lap times are tumbling down. As we exit turn 1 now, let's see, can Nico make a move on the Aston Martin driver, put himself further along the field. Nico made an announcement this week saying that he was going to quit, or should I say last week, because it is Monday today. But George Ansel is side by side with the Williams going down towards turn 3. We go a bit of contact, but George muscles his way past, but the Williams gets a better exit on the outside. But George used the battery to stay ahead of him as he puts himself into P6. And would the Williams come back down the inside towards turn 4? Looks for a move, but he's chopped across the front wing there. And George Ansel just stays in front and puts himself, or stays in P6. However, Hazard has lost the place again, as he's been demoted down into P12, has the Norwegian driver, so losing pace there, losing touch with the guys in front, but the Ferrari makes a massive mistake out of turn 6. Oh, the Ferrari almost lost the car again, and Hazard had to take a body action there by slamming on the brakes, but the top 5 are so close indeed. A very close battle between all the top 5. Once again, George has lost a bit of time towards the top 5. The gap is 1.8 seconds then, so that battle between himself and the Williams has cost him a bit of time there. I thought that those two would stop battling and just try and catch the guys ahead, because I think they've got some decent pace, but the more they fight, the more they lose time. And here comes Lawrence now, who takes the lead of the Grand Prix, puts himself into first, but no, Jude is still on the outside as they continue going wheel to wheel towards turn 3. Look at that, Fraser's getting close as well, so very interested there between the top 3 as Jude stays ahead of Lawrence then, so decent defence there from the RB drive. I thought Lawrence had it covered. Now we're headed out towards turn 4 we go. Lawrence on the outside of turn 4. Can he make it stick? It's been so close there as we continue going wheel to wheel between these two. Lawrence has barely got any battery. You can see it on the steering wheel on the Sauber driver, so he's using a lot of battery to try and get past the RB driver, who makes a little mistake out of turn 6 there. Just couldn't get the power or couldn't find the grip. And he stays in the lead of the Grand Prix there. Good stuff indeed. Lap 10 out of 36 here. The rain continues to ease off. We're heading towards the dry period, as Lucas then is the first driver to be rewarded a 3-second time penalty. I was going to mention that. Who will be the first driver to pick a penalty during this race? It is so easy to pick up penalties during the Grand Prix, as Mr. Parla now sets the fastest for the Grand Prix in the Ferrari. It's 11.3, that's a second quicker than what we've seen a few laps ago. So the conditions are getting better as the drivers then find more grip, but the Inters might be struggling as well. Here comes Lawrence now, side by side. He tried to down the inside on the last lap, but will he make it stick on this lap? We're about to find out now. A bit of contact there between the two as we go off board to see what happens between Jude and Lawrence as we continue then down the straight in towards turn 4 we go. Can Jude defend from Lawrence? Can Lawrence finally overtake? But here comes Fraser on the outside in towards turn 4, but Lawrence defends that, and now he goes down the inside as Jude has picked himself up a penalty. That is very costly indeed. He's used up his golden tickets there, and here comes the Red Bull of Lucas. Nico down the inside of Finley. Side by side, can Nico muscle his way past finally the Aston Martin driver? He does. Nico puts himself into P4. Great manoeuvre indeed. But look who's caught up. Look who's on the back of this train. It is George and the rest of them. So George and co have finally caught up, and this could be a massive DRS train when the dry conditions start to play an effect during this Grand Prix then. So George and Gavacci, despite losing a lot of time battling each other in the first few laps of the Grand Prix, they have caught up to this train, and this should be very spicy now with a DRS train from first all the way down to, let's have a look, down towards 16th place. So 16 drivers then, very close together indeed on this train. We climb towards turn 3, we go. Nico, makes the contact behind Fraser. Fraser closes the door. Nico is pinched on the curb, and here comes Finley now on the outside. In towards turn 3 we go. He's level pegging there with the Red Bull driver. We're headed down towards turn 4 we go. Can Finley get back ahead of Nico? Here comes Nico and Finley down towards turn 4 we go. As Finley can't get the move done, Nico stays ahead. George Ansel in the background, waiting to pounce on the Aston Martin driver. He will pounce, going down towards turn 6. Can George muscle his way past? He can! He gets ahead of Finley. What a great move indeed from George. He puts himself into P5 ahead of the Aston Martin of Finley, who seems to be struggling on the intermediates. They don't look pretty, do they, on the inters so far? Interesting then that these guys have caught up finally, and we're going to see a big battle for the lead of the Grand Prix. Jude, unfortunately, in the top 10, picked himself up a 3-second penalty as he went out wide in towards turn 4. Quite a strange place, in turn 4, but DRS then has been enabled, indicating that the dry compound tyres will be attached to the car very soon in this Grand Prix then, so this should be a very interesting phase during this race. And now Lawrence senses the move down the inside in towards turn 3, late braking from Jude there, stays ahead in the corner, goes deep in the corner as well, but Lawrence will have DRS for the first time in this race then. So here he is with the rear wing wide open with the battery as well. He makes a move for the lead of the Grand Prix and puts himself into first place. I think these guys will be considered a pit stop very soon. Do you know what's weird about this game as well? Even though it is raining, that I've seen it in the rain before where the dry compound tyres are attached, and obviously it's not realistic, but yeah, not ideal at all with the modelling handle of the game. Lap 13 out of 36 then, I think the hard compound tyres will start to be introduced in this race. I don't think nobody really going on the medium compound tyres. They can't really, they can make it towards the end, but you'd just be struggling. They've been falling off a cliff. But is anybody considered a pit stop? Yes, they are. George Ansel is in the pit stop. Tyler's is in the pit stop too. Does he slow the car down? He does. He slows the car down as he was double locking up in towards the pit lane there. But look at this then, the top 4 bunched up as the DRS then wide open between all these drivers, as Lawrence has no DRS in front of him, might be swamped on the straights as we head down towards turn 3 we go. Anybody looking for a move down the inside? As Finley has been attached a bit from this train, but should bring himself back into play with the helping hands of the DRS as well. So George Ansel has pitted on the hard compound tyres. Tallis is on the hard as well. Watch out for them. How is their pace going to be on the brand new set of hard compound tyres? Maybe struggling in the first lap with the tyres not up to temperature, optimum working window. And plus, of course, it is still a bit damp out there as well. So keep an eye between George and the rest of them. The gap to leader, let's have a look at that. 19.8 seconds there. So will he gain any time on this lap? Was that the right pit there? Right time to pit for George Ansel. In fact, he's gaining a bit of time, you know, has George, so he could have put a blinder on this hard compound tyre. I think he has put a blinder too, so I think George might rejoin. But look at that. Was that illegal there? No, because he's not going to go in the pit lane. I thought Fraser for 1 second was going to go in the pit lane, but obviously he cut the white line. Look at that. Stampede cars in the pit lane. The Ferrari in the grass and there's contact in the pit lane. How on earth he did not spin there, I don't know. But they kept it under control and luckily did not break his wing. Did he break his wing? I'm not quite sure. That was the McLaren of Christian and myself, Paolo, unfortunately, who made contact as we see Jude and Lawrence going wheel to wheel up towards turn 3. Jude is in the lead of the Grand Prix ahead of the Sauber drivers. The top 3 have stayed up. But where's George Ansell? George Ansell, it's in P9, well ahead of this trade. And here comes Talent as well. Talent rejoins side by side with the Red Bull driver. No DRS there for the Red Bull driver, but of course Talent does, as he was at the touching point of the Red Bull driver as he heads up towards turn 3 in P10. Looking good for Talent so far in P10, but with Nico Rosberg with the DRS open, here he comes down the inside, in towards turn 4 we go. I think the top 8 now will come into the pit lane in this lap, but of course... Oh, there's a spinner! There's a spinner! No, it's George! We talked about how good a strategy was. He could potentially lead the Grand Prix, but on the outside of turn 4, he has gone for a spin, and any chances of winning are definitely over for the RB driver. What a massive shame there, as Jude has a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I can't believe it. Jude was in the lead comfortably as well, but unfortunately he's picked up too many penalties during this race, and let's see, I think Nico might lead the Grand Prix. Here he is then, down the main straight he goes. The Red Bull driver will pass the pit lane as he will take the lead of the Grand Prix, head up towards turn 1. Nico, for the first time this season, is in the lead of the Grand Prix, but it's going to be very difficult because you've got the likes of Talers, Finley, and the guys right behind you. George Ansell's retired in the pit lane. Here comes Talers though, side by side with the Red Bull driver. Look at this in the background. Who's that? That's McLaren up the inside. What's going on here then? Christian side by side with somebody. He went very wide indeed, like a Sebastian Vettel overtake in 2018 on Lewis Hamilton. And Nico Rosberg puts himself back into the lead of the Grand Prix, traded DRS with the LP driver. So what's the scenario now? Things are starting to calm down a bit, but we can see some more action side by side between the Aston Martin. That is Fraser looking for a double overtake on the Sauber and the Ferrari 2. Right on the outside he goes in towards turn 7. A bit of contact between Hazara and Fraser, but luckily unscathed and keep it going. So Nico leads the race then. Great time for Nico to pit as Talers is in P2. Finn is in P3 with Garachi in P4, Lawrence P5. Yeah, sorry about that, I put the gap to leader. I was so confused because I thought people were outside of a second of each other there, but don't worry, they're all closed up and bunched together, and it's going to be a regular DRS train from here on in. It is also a good time for, I think lap 12, 13 is when, or 14, when people pit from mediums to hards. Maybe later on as well in the Grand Prix, but obviously we've gone from inters to hards. You know them up into P12 despite starting last place. And look at this, we see Jude now side by side with the Ferrari. They're so close between each other. Can Jude get past the Ferrari driver? The Aston Martin comes as well. Here he is down towards turn 4. Some of these guys have pitted too late, hence why they rejoin down the order as well. Here comes the Zara now side by side with the Aston Martin. Fraser was in a good place during the beginning of the Grand Prix, but unfortunately pitted too late, and Hazara muscles his way past. He puts himself into P10 ahead of the Aston Martin. Is there going to be any late resurgence from the Sauber driver? As unfortunately, M. Sapalo picks himself up a 3-second penalty for trying to miss there. Will be the last, and I think plenty more people in this Grand Prix will probably pick up penalties as well. Nico leads then with Talers in P2, Finley in P3. Nils sets fast up the Grand Prix. It's up into P12 from starting in last place. Didn't participate in qualify, but here we go, up towards turn 3 we go. Talers is looking for a move. Here comes Finley as well. Down the inside of Nico, going down towards turn 3. Nico might get shuffled backwards twice, and he goes off the track there. And here comes Finley. Through he goes. Finley is up into first place now. But Talers does not have the DRS, neither does Nico. Nico haven't got DRS either. Here comes the Williams now. Here comes Lawrence down the inside. Multi-car scrap going on here for the lead of the Grand Prix as Lawrence puts himself into P4. I'm terribly sorry about the camera view as well. Not really going in my favour is the camera. I tried to swap it to the helicopter cam, but unfortunately just put me on the front wing cam like this. So I really apologise about the camera there. Anyways, it is Finley who leads this Grand Prix. The man that also won at the Belgian Grand Prix early in the scene as well. So Finley's looking really strong so far. He got caught up in contact with his teammates, I think, at the Chinese Grand Prix. Because remember down at turn 14, if you watched it, there was lots of contact in turn 14, as we see Tom now takes the first lap of the Grand Prix. I think it was Lawrence who tapped the back one of the Aston Martins, and the other went into the other one, whilst I think an RB driver suffered with damage. But here comes Nico now side by side with Finley as we head towards turn 3. Nico retakes the lead of the Grand Prix again. We're going to see plenty of this during this race, with people chopping and chasing a bit there, with places being swapped left, right and centre with the power of the DRS as well. Here comes Lawrence side by side as we head down towards turn 4. Late braking from the Sauber. Can he make a stick? He does, but the RP driver goes on the gravel, and here comes the Williams. Has to make more contact. Gavocci's up into P3. Capitalising from these two who are scobbling so hard. There's contact. There is contact. Lucas is in the wall. So is the Haas. They've come to blows, unfortunately. And Brian is stuck. He can't go anywhere. He's in neutral, so I think he needs to get himself out of neutral to get going anywhere. I'm not quite sure what happened to these two, but surprisingly, a safety car hasn't been deployed despite two drivers in the wall together. So Lucas is out of this race. Brian is in last place. As we now head up to lap 20 out of 36, then climb up towards turn 1 we go. We've lost Lucas, we've lost George Anson, a high contender during this Grand Prix, but made a mistake in turn 4. And unfortunately is out of the Grand Prix. But here we are, climbing towards the hill again, 2 by 2, heading towards turn 3 we go. As Lawrenson down the inside of the Williams, trying to retake P3. And here, oh, there's a spin in the background. Who's that? It is Jude. Jude has gone for a spin. And unfortunately his race has gone from bad to worse. A 10-second penalty as well during the race as we head down towards turn 4 we go. Here comes Even I. Here comes Tyler side by side in towards turn 4. Plenty of action everywhere through the field. All the way contact, almost Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen as well. Back in 2021 was it? I think it was anyway. But here we are, still continue side by side there between these two as Gavocci just stays in front there. Oh, there's more contact between these guys as well. Even I and Tellers coming to blows as well between those two as Christian almost at the back of the LP driver as well, but keeps the points in the right direction. Plenty of action going on here. As always, here in PSGL F2, very spicy. Things get out of hand sometimes here in PSGL, but that's what race is all about. Every single driver desperate to make up positions as Jude unfortunately retires the pit lane. That's his third DNF during this season and fourth as well because he had a DNS. But here comes Nico and Finley once again as we head down towards turn 3. Lawrence, look up at the inside, in towards turn 3. Wheel to wheel between those two. My God, these guys have been fighting very hard indeed between all these guys. It's been so close. First 8 are gone, GG's. As we head down towards turn 4 we go. Lawrence still remains in P3 for the time being. I'll tell you who's done a good job so far, the man in P4, which is Gavocci, and I do apologise if you say your name is wrong as well. He has done a fantastic job so far. Meanwhile, his teammate, his fellow compatriot of NLR picks himself up a 3-second penalty, as what's happened to the Ferrari driver of M. Sapala. He's gone for a spin unfortunately at turn 4, so that's also his race wrecked as well. But back towards the front, there is 15 laps left to go around here in Austria. I have no idea what the order is going to be. It could be anybody's game. Anybody could finish in first place. It could be hectic towards the last few laps of the Grand Prix. But I do know one thing for sure. I don't want to be first in the last lap of the Grand Prix because there is 3 DRS zones around here and guaranteed to be swamped by one of them. But now, head towards turn 3. It's 3 abreast, in towards turn 3 we go. Lawrence backside, Nico down the inside as we head towards the breaker zone we go as Finley and Nico make contact as the Sauber goes through. It is Lawrence now who puts himself into P2. I think Lawrence was very wise to back out of it, knowing that 3 abreast was not a smart idea, leaving Nico and Finley to fight in the breaker zone. Finley got caught up by Nico, going a bit wide there at turn 3 there. Fourth, Lawrence capitalised, and he takes away P2 now. I think the guys behind being furious stuck behind these drivers as well. But Hazara is up into P7 now, so great drive from Hazara so far from starting in P12. We know that he can have an amazing second stint in the Grand Prix. Around the final corner we go. Starting lap 23 out of 36 then. Is to get hectic and crazy indeed. The top 8 in the DRS train, like you said. P9 has been detached from it. Your nails in P9, but Fraser in the back of him. It's a shame for Fraser because what could it have been for Aston Martin? Although we got finished in P3. But it's all about pitting at the right time, being the right tyre at the right time, as you would say. As here comes Lawrence then side by side with Nico in the break. So we go. Here comes Finley now on Nico and the Mercedes of Even I versus the Williams then. Multiple battles going on here in the top end of the pecking order. As we head towards turn 4, Lawrence good defensive. Nico around the outside in towards turn 4 we go. Let's see which one of these two get ahead of each other. It is Nico and Lawrence then still remaining wheel to wheel. And there goes McLaren and Williams side by side. But Christian is up into P5 then. It's been a decent drive so far from Christian. But there here comes the Williams back down the inside. He goes up into P5 but not yet though because Christian on the outside there. Nice car control. I thought for one moment that Christian will lose the car. But there's no way they're going to go side by side towards turn 9. And rightly so, he backs out of it. Is there anything for talent as well in P8? Unfortunately for both RP drivers who have suffered a difficult race is in P8 is Tallers. And now we're heading up towards turn 1 we go. This is getting very, very spicy indeed. The top 8 just bunched up in this DRS train. Could be any of the top 8 who wins this Grand Prix. Depends where you are. The final lap of the final corner. But here comes the Red Bull driver Nico side by side. Now Finley might take advantage of ball. He slips on the inside. But Nico a bit of wheel spin on the exit of turn 3 but stays ahead for the time being. Now Lawrence has the DRS back on him. Here comes Lawrence now. Force on the right side. As we'll overtake Nico down the inside going in towards turn 4. And there's the Williams as well side by side with the Mercedes in towards turn 4. And now Lawrence retakes the lead of the Grand Prix. These guys are constantly swapping places every single lap. It's unpredictable in this race as well. Some people dropping from first to third as well. Use the power of the DRS. But it's going to get so intense towards the end. Contact could be made between a lot of drivers. We could see a few surprises in this race. Like we did see back in China as well. Quite a few surprises. But every single race so far this season has been really interesting to watch as well. Even the Chinese Grand Prix last week. Every single race has kept me on my toes. Me and Logan, very, very, very excited. Every single race, full of energy. And now we're heading up towards turn 3 we go. Nico, will he take the lead again? I think he will have to because Finley's pressurising him as we head down towards turn 3. Look at these guys then, squabbling in the braking zone. Look at this, so intense between the two, but Nico now gets ahead of Lawrence with Finley in P3, boxed in behind Nico and Lawrence. Now he takes, can't make the move, and now he does, down the inside towards turn 4, almost abreast. Here comes Even I, around the outside, in towards turn 4, Lawrence retakes the lead, and now Finley is scrapping away with Even I there, as we make our way now towards turn 6 and turn 7. You can see the overspeed these guys had, unbelievable scenes indeed. Even I is up into P3 now. And now his Zara is defending from towers right behind, and he's putting pressure on the Williams as well. Can you believe what we're seeing? We're seeing cars absolutely everywhere, fighting out for the lead of the Grand Prix. I wish I prepared my voice as well for this, because my voice is going. And I don't know if you noticed, but look who's gaining. Look who is gaining. Finley, Fraser in P9. The gap is 1.1, so this battling is helping Fraser catch up towards these guys as Finley makes a mistake out of turn 1, goes a bit deep in the corner. Now Christian fancy a move on the Aston Martin as well. And here we are then, head up towards turn 2 and turn 3 we go. The Red Bull versus the Sauber, level pegging there. Evan I has nowhere to go. And here comes Christian around the outside too, in towards turn 3, but can't get the power down as quickly as he would have wanted, as Nico and Lawrence are going side by side once again. Can Even I find a way past as we head down towards turn 4 in the breakers? There we go. Finley looking for a move on the inside, but he can't quite make it stick or get close enough. Wow, my God, this is fantastic between these guys. It's so intense. And now, Tallers, Yanil, Fraser have caught up to this battle, so it's a top 11 fight for first place. Can you believe it? And Ivan, by the way, horrible camera angle. I'm really sorry about this camera angle indeed. Not ideal at all, but now we're going to be able to win between Finley and Even I, and Finley puts himself back into third place. Very smart there from Mercedes not to go wheel to wheel in towards turn 9. One of you had to back out, and it was the Mercedes. I'd rather finish the race than go spinning into a corner right turn 9. But here we go then, in towards turn 1 we go, climb up towards the hill, lap 27 out of 36. All these guys, this must be massive stress for all these guys here, because I can't be in a race like this because it's just so stressful. Like, how do you deal with this? And now we head towards turn 3, it's 3 abreast, in towards turn 3, there's contact with Nico as he almost spins the car. Finley makes contact with him, but keeps the pulse in the direction. Nico puts Finley on the grass, and look at this, a multi-car scrap as we head down towards turn 4. Look at this. Let's have a look to see what happens towards turn 4 as the Aston Martin Finley goes around the outside. Can he make a stick? Williams there gets pinched on the curb and he gets shuffled backwards a few places we go. Oh my goodness me, how are these guys not spinning? I'm not sure. And the Williams are on the outside of Christian once again, in towards turn 6 and turn 7. Look at this helicopter cam. The top 11 in a big scrap. Absolute scenes indeed. My voice is absolutely going. I wish it didn't go because it's the worst time. Look at this. Unbelievable. Turn on to turn 10. A massive train. A fight for the lead of the Grand Prix. We don't know who's going to win on the Grand Prix. We don't know who's going to be on the podium. It could be anybody. It depends where you are on the final laps, on the final corner. But look at this. Massive bunch up in towards turn 1 there. As we now have the DRS. P2 to P11 have DRS as we climb towards turn 2 to turn 3. It is Finley making a move as we head down towards turn 3 we go. Let's see what happens in the breaker zone. It's just Saba and Nico and Lawrence going side by side. There's even I gets a bit squirrely on the exit of turn 3 but keeps the car pointed in the right direction. Now Lawrence might take the lead of the Grand Prix because Nico's boxed in. And we're going down towards turn 4, but very good tactical play there for Lawrence. He doesn't want to overtake Finley just yet because he wants the DRS the back of him, but Nico will pressure him to put himself into first place. That's what you're going to do. You're going to force your rivals into a move, put them into uncomfortable territory, and let them become the bait for the lead of the Grand Prix, for the DRS on the next few laps of the Grand Prix. But yes, one thing for sure. The question is, though, who's going to be the guinea pig and be in first place on the last lap? I'm pretty sure no one's been in first place, because it's a guaranteed loss, isn't it, if you're first? We have seen a lot of DRS games played before by a lot of these drivers, but it could get bad here in Austria. 3 DRS zones, you can be defenceless and vulnerable down the next 2 straights. Now, here we go towards the top of the hill. Nico will force Lawrence into an overtake on Finley as we climb towards turn 3. And Lawrence is keeping an eye on Nico, making sure that he doesn't overtake him and making sure that he stays behind Finley as well. So great tactical team play there for Lawrence. It is very critical as well that he starts saving ERS as Christian, and look at this, going side by side with Hazara and Garocci as well as we head down towards turn 4. But look at this, Lawrence doesn't make the move just yet. He's being very clever in this Grand Prix. It is the Sauber driver using his head at high speed, and Garocci and Hazara then going side by side in towards turn 6 and turn 7. The Williams maintains P6 ahead of Hazara as he's in a Williams sandwich with Fraser out behind, and Tallis as well, and Tom, as Diogo Silva has been detached from this train as well. Feel sorry for the guys down there, Diogo Silva, Zane, Slash and Brian Nemers. Don't get to mention those drivers because there's so much action going on there. I remember saying this in China as well, where a lot of action happened, and we barely mentioned the drivers at the back of the field. But Lawrence there getting super close, turns off the DRS, not going to go for the move. But for sure, I think Nico and Evan I will definitely force Lawrence into an overtake. They'll force Lawrence to put himself into first place, and let's see if that does happen going towards turn 3 or turn 4. As we now climb towards turn 3, the heavy breaker zone, but Nico side by side. But look at this, Lawrence there getting close on the back of Finley, but gets a terrible exit. And here comes Nico Rassenberger's contact between the two. And let's see what happens going down towards turn 4. Lawrence uses the battery he has to stay ahead of Nico. As we head down towards turn 4 we go. These guys are being very clever, they know what to do, as they're very tactical indeed, high IQ, high caliber drivers indeed. Hence why they're in F2. My brain can't even cope with this. Oh, there's contact! Who is that? Further down the field. That is Hazara and Fraser, I believe it was. Or was it Yanil? I'm not quite sure. I think it was Fraser and Yanil, sorry. So I think those two made contact we saw going down towards turn 6. But I wonder how these guys managed to stay calm during the massive pressure, because I know myself, if I was in this battle, I'd probably spin out or make contact with somebody, because unfortunately I don't have the strong mindset these guys have. There is 5 laps left to go in this Grand Prix. Lawrence has been very clever keeping Nico behind as well, and keeping Evan Ira behind, and also using the DRS to help himself stay behind Finley. But here we go up towards turn 3 then. It's 3 abreast. There's contact between these 3. Luckily, nobody off is the gravel in the wall, but Nico is now defended from Evan I as we go side by side. Turn 3 we go. DRS for these guys as well. Here comes Lawrence on Finley. Nico puts himself in the middle as we head down towards turn 4. There's Christian lunging up the inside in towards 4, but can't make it stick as he stays behind as well for the time being. But look at this, Evan I use the batteries, go side by side with Nico in towards turn 6 and turn 7. I think he got caught off guard there, Nico. Didn't expect Evan I to come alongside him in towards turn 6, but stays ahead as well. I think I definitely need a drink of water after this, because my voice is going there, so I should have probably done that at the beginning. But I knew it to be intense as we now head towards the final corner to start lap 32 out of 36 then. The pressure is ramping on. Who could sustain the pressure in this race? I know I can't for sure. As you can see, these guys just turn off the DRS there. Finley is currently being the bait. Oh, there's a spinner. Has he spun? I'm not quite sure. It is Fraser. He keeps it pointing in the right direction, thankfully for his sake. And now Lawrence goes side by side with Finley in the breaker zone. And here comes Evan Nye as well, trying to go to the inside, but can't quite do it. In towards turn 3. Christian around the outside, gets pitched on the curve that has nowhere to go, and has to back off as well. Here we go, down towards turn 4 between all these guys. Will Lawrence be forced into an overtake? He doesn't, but Nico makes contact, and Nico gets a 3, a second time penalty. And Evan Nye puts himself into P3. Or Nico complain that he moved on to braking, or did Nico outbrake himself and put himself to the back of Lawrence? I'm not quite sure. It happened so quickly, but Nico now is out of the equation. He heard that the background, that's my voice thing, but yeah, we could see the Christian versus, oh, he spins in, but that's not a place to go side by side there, thankfully, as he keeps it going then. It was a half swipe there for Gavocci, but one of you was about to spin, because you can't go wheel to wheel in a corner like that, I'm afraid. It is lap 33 out of 36. 3 laps left to go in this race. I'm not sure who will win, but definitely not Nico now. But it's going to be Nico's best result of the season. Brian Emos gets a 3-second time penalty. And here comes Evan Nye side by side with Lawrence. You know what, Lawrence played again. Lawrence has played a clever game. I'm starting to lose my voice, but Evan Nye gets pushed to the curb. Nico's trying to fight back, but he can't quite do it. But Lawrence has played a very smart game, must be said. If Lawrence takes this to the line, holy, yeah, I can't say that word, but as we head down towards turn 4 we go. Nico level pegging with Evan Nye. Makes contact with him as he almost lost the car, but stays behind for the time being. Hazara now puts himself into P7, but not yet because Tom's still on the outside. In towards turn 6 and turn 7 we go. Well, that's a lovely move from Tom. Can he make it stick? Can he complete the move? He can't just yet because Hazara is still there as he went a bit deep in the corner, did Tom. And now Hazara will find himself back into 6th, 7th place, I believe. He will. So, lap 34 now out of 36. It's been a fantastic, sensational drive for Lawrence so far. Playing the game of keeping behind Finley, use the DOS to the back of him, protects himself against Evan Nye and Nico. Oh, goes a bit wide. Is that a penalty? No, it's not. But I dare say one more warning could be a penalty for him, so very careful in terms of not getting that 3-second penalty around here in Austria. As the pack closes up in towards turn 3. Evan Nye now is going wheel to wheel in towards turn 3. Does he get a better hit than Lawrence? I don't think he does. But they both have DRS on the back of Finley then. Heading onto the straight, going down towards turn 4. Lawrence has to defend now from the Mercedes driver. As here comes Christian down the inside. Is there contact? No, it's not. But Lawrence and Evan Nye going wheel to wheel. Bit of a snap there from Lawrence. And Evan Nye is up into P2. It's been a very good race so far from the Mercedes driver. Slowly but surely making his way through the field, started down in P10. He's put some sensational moves as well on the guys ahead. He's up into P2. Does this man have a chance to win it? But Lawrence, there's no way he's going to make a move in towards turn. Look at this, Christian's there as well. Unbelievable, as these two had to back out there, make sure they didn't make contact in towards the final few corners. It's the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix. Finley's been the leader, but for how long? Because on the last lap, I dare say you'll get swamped by these guys as we now head towards turn 1. And this should get very hectic on the next lap of the Grand Prix. But Evan Nye is under massive pressure from Lawrence right behind. Will Evan Nye be forced into an overtake as we go down towards turn 3 we go. Evan Nye side by side with Finley in towards turn 3. And here comes Christian up the inside. Contact between the two. They get pitched on the curb. And they both lose their places. And they make contact as well. Lawrence has been dropped on the order. And it's a massive crash. Oh my goodness me. Reminds me of Kimi Räikkönen and Fernando Alonso back in 2015 as we head down towards turn 3. Nico and Gavocci going side by side. The Williams is up into P3. That's a huge smash. Hazara is out of the Grand Prix. Lawrence has been pushed into P8. Unbelievable indeed. They both struggle for traction as they just grabbed onto each other. That was so unfortunate there for those guys. My voice is going by the bit. So, which one of the top 3 is going to win this race? We know Nico is not going to win this Grand Prix in P4. Fraser might have a chance in P5. He's up into P5 now. But yeah, like Troye says, the top 2 is the championship leader of Hazara and Lawrence. But for not any longer, there's contact in towards turn 1. Oh, there's more contact, and he's in the spin. Oh my goodness me, what is going on during this Grand Prix? And here comes the Red Bull driver of Nico, back down the inside. It could be Finley who still wins this Grand Prix, despite being the leader for this whole Grand Prix. Here we go, down towards turn 3. The Williams gets pushed off the track, and here comes Fraser as well. Could Fraser take advantage? Can Can he make an Aston Martin 1-2? It is the top two going side by side in towards turn 4 we go. Here comes Fraser down the inside. Burt makes contact with the Williams there. Did not get the Red Bull. More contact as well between those two. As we continue out of the corner, heading up towards turn 6 and turn 7. Garocci's got the inside line. Is it still a very press? But here comes Fraser. Through he goes. The Red Bull's off the track. Losing traction. More contact. He's in the wall. Oh my goodness me. As Finley is about to come around the final corner then, it's going to be a victory for him. After everything during this Grand Prix, Finley, for the second time this season, will come across the line to win here in Austria. What a fantastic drive it's been for the Aston Martin driver. Garocci finishes in P2. Fraser makes it a double Aston Martin podium with Lawrence in P4. Despite spinning as well, he's still in P4. You know he's in P5. Great recovery from the, started down in last, didn't he? Yeah, he did. From 19th to 5th. Great from him. Oh my goodness. Can you get any more chaotic than that here in PSGL F2? I can't believe what we saw tonight. Things have happened, things have escalated very quickly during the Grand Prix. It's just so hard to catch up. I'm pretty sure that Logan would have enjoyed this race. Logan's excitement would have definitely brought it to light. Thank you, Carlos. I appreciate it, mate. It was very hard to commentate because I am the co-commentator. And also, I don't have a partner tonight, so I have been solo comms. But thank you so much for the support in the chat. I really hope you enjoyed this race. It has been a very chaotic race indeed. Not the racing standards we wanted, but it was not the racing standards we wanted, but it is Austria. I've seen a lot of chaos happen in Austria before, especially in the last few laps of the Grand Prix. And once again, it is Finley who wins ahead of Garocci in P2. Fraser in P3 ahead of Lawrence in P4. Do you know what? Aston Martin, fantastic, because they're starting to shine. I think, do you know what? Full credit to Finley because he did not suffer under pressure whatsoever. I'll give you the classifications right now from P1 down to P19. But you've got to give credit to Finley because not once did he crack under pressure from the guys behind. He was the bait. He was the one that was going to get swallowed up by the pack, but the guys tripped on their own toes there, and therefore Finley just pulled away. Sometimes not bad being first in the DRS tree, but obviously you don't want to be first towards the Grand Prix, but you've got to give credit to Finley. Half the grid killing each other, indeed. Well, that's it from me. I really hope you enjoyed this race. I did. Even though it was a bit too intense. But that's what race is all about. Sometimes it can't be clean, but we love to see it clean. But anyways, I'm going to go. I have been your commentator, Jamie Morris, or Indigo, as you guys probably know me by. And the next race is at the Silverstone Grand Prix, the home of motorsport. So that should be another interesting race. I'm going to go now. I'll see you all later. Have a good weekend and take care of yourself. Goodbye for now.